Hey everybody, welcome to the first episode of Rewind Recap Relive. We have a great interview with Buff Bagwell and Corey Cooper, but first, I'm going to announce the winner of this week's giveaway. The winner of the signed Buff Bagwell Wolfpack shirt is a very lucky Mike H. of Canada. Mike, now you can have some of Buff stuff too. Congrats, we'll be contacting you by email. And now we have a brand new giveaway for this week. The item up for grabs is this signed t-shirt by the living legend Larry Zbyszko, who will actually be appearing on next week's episode. There are only two things you have to do to enter this giveaway. First, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you subscribe for not only this giveaway, but many more to come. Second, I need you to comment on this video, and I need you to include in that comment hashtag R3 giveaway. It's that simple. You're in. The winner will be announced on our episode next Thursday. And now, this week's interview. Let me introduce you to our first guest here. You may have seen him in Monster Factory Pro Wrestling, Outlaw Pro Wrestling, or he's a regular in the New York Wrestling Connection, Corey Cooper, Double C. And our other guest is a legend inside and outside of the ring. He's former five-time World WCW Tag Team Champion, Buff The Stuff Bagwell. And we are so happy to have you both on the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The first question I'd like to address to Buff. So recently, you just came out with a cameo video. You released it, and it got a lot of heat. You know which one I'm referring to? You seemed a little injured.
What happened was I'd fallen over my little puppy and this nose planted, and I thought I broke my nose for sure. Nose wasn't broke or anything, but I had black eyes. Well, of course, with the coronavirus going on, it's a good time to have black eyes because you ain't got to do anything. Well, I forgot about the cameos. All of a sudden, this kid sends me a cameo, like for a birthday or something, dude. Young kid.
Right.
And it came down to literally 12 minutes that I had to do it. Or forget, who cares about $50?
Yeah.
It's the point that I didn't do it to me. And so I had 12 minutes to make the decision of going on TV drunk and buzzed and all black face. So everybody just went, what in the hell is going on here? So that's why I came back. That's why I came back with the live and let everybody see that, you know, and obviously it must not have been too bad because my face is like, to my knowledge, there's not a scratch on it. So that's why I did it, to let people see I was okay, because there were genuinely fans that were worried, you know, genuinely.
Yeah, and it was nice. Were you surprised with how much attention that got?
It's still, I get called every day, because I put my number on there because I don't care. I tell like it is to everybody, and whoever calls, so be it. But now, you know, it's got to make some kind of sense. People that text me and say, "What's up?" I mean, what's up? I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, how long you got? I got a whole hour here. I got a whole hour for you on what's up. So, and you ain't paying me, so you know I can't do it. So, if it is a good question or something, I always answer them back. There's never been a fan mail that's mailed me something that he didn't get mailed back. I'm real big on that, and they all got my address now. A good thing. It's a good thing, but.
Yeah.
The fans, there is no Buff Bagwell. There is no Corey. There's nobody. There's nobody without the fans. You know, there's just not.
Definitely.
So how do you feel like the, you know, pandemic? Because I know, Buff, you've wrestled on the independent circuit now in the past few years, right? Have you had any matches this year?
Yeah, God, my last one was wasn't too long ago, a month and a half, 2 months ago was my last shot. And then they all started canceling after that.
Yeah.
My luck, of course. The first state they hit was Ohio, where they really, if you remember looking back on the pandemic thing, they really, really, really drilled Ohio out of the gate. Right. I mean, they were like all over them. So where were my first shots? Ohio. So I was like, well, there those go. So when I got the 20 grand that I'd lost, I finally quit counting because I was depressed. Went from 5 days a week working with cameos and everything else to 0 minus cameos, and they've done a lot better than I thought. Cameos have really stepped up.
They
and made
have.
me some
Everyone's
money.
on there. Yeah.
Yeah, they really are stepping up and coming at me, and you know, but I always, you know me, I always put that extra in it and do my dance for them or my pose or whatever. I just really care about the fans. It means a lot to me.
We're really happy to hear that. Corey, for the independent circuit, obviously that's where you are right now, New York Wrestling Connection. How do you how's it affected you?
Well, I just haven't been able to wrestle like whatsoever these, past 2 months. So it's definitely affected me not being able to go out there and do what I love.
2 years into it now, right? I mean, you were just wetting your beak in it, and now this happens,
Yeah, I was just, starting to get my feet in the water, starting to, move around, get my name out there, and it just comes to a complete halt. It hurts your momentum that you had going. NYWC and Monster Factory, and those got shut down.
What do you guys feel about WWE being deemed an essential workplace? Buff, what do you think?
I mean, Vince McMahon is a genius. When you
Yeah.
hate him or you love him, I love him because he's a genius. And how can you dog out somebody that's made billions of dollars in this business?
Right.
And he's done so. And so if they wanted to give him whatever they wanted to give him, I think is fair because he's Vince McMahon.
Corey, what do you think about that?
Well, a lot like what Buff said makes a lot of sense. He's always been such a forward-thinking guy. It's hard to go against his judgment and what he thinks. So Vince McMahon being the visionary that he is, I have to go with what he says.
The proof's in the pudding, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah.
When you're on top, you're on top. And
I mean, look around. Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah. So he's on top, I mean, regardless, he fired me in 2 weeks. I still don't know why. I don't know why. I swear to you, I would give, and I've said this on several podcasts, right. I would give a contract up to know the exact truth of what happened because we have no idea. Booker don't know. I don't know. We were told, why would we do the invasion in Tacoma, Washington, when the next week was Atlanta? I mean, anybody with a brain cell anywhere in their body, you wait the next week and put Booker T and Buff back with the Georgia Dome, and you're going to have a better response. And you're doing it in Turner's backyard. Where do we do it? In the town that we never wrestled in, Tacoma. We're backstage knowing something's up, but just what do you do? Hey, Vince, we're not happy with this idea. Well, you didn't say that. So we did what we were told to do.
You just said yes and thank you, right? I mean, that's the most you could do.
Yes and thank you, exactly.
So you've said before that you thought JR had something to do with that, right?
Well, the catch is, I told somebody again this morning this story. Me and JR are cool now, as far as I'm considered. We hugged, made up, shook hands, all that.
Good.
But there's still an elephant in the room that I'm never going to get anywhere with, and that's why I don't talk about it. If he would have said, I hate Mark Bagwell or I don't like Mark Bagwell,
right,
and I was just doing my job, I have no reason to be mad at JR. He don't really like me. Why would there be heat? There wouldn't be. He was doing his job, and they really don't like me anyway. No big deal. That's the business. But when you go on and say on Steve Austin's podcast, and Steve Austin had him pegged, him and Steve were friends, and so he backed off right when he had him cornered. And he said, because JR, I've got him on video, JR at that round table dogging me out to the absolute max. Whose mother has, like I would, and then they try to blame it on the match. Do you know how many matches me and Booker T have not missed a step in over the years? Me and Tuco Scorpio against Harlem Heat. Me and American Males versus Harlem Heat. Stars and Stripes versus Harlem Heat. Me and Booker, you couldn't right this second if you sit down for a week and poked out every match me and Booker ever had. They're flawless. There's nothing wrong. We had great chemistry. But when it started getting heated between me and Booker backstage, the WWF guys took over and said, hey, wait a minute, hold on. This is a little bit our fault too. Mm-hmm. Pat Patterson at the WWF at the time, WWE now, he is who gives the main events, finishes. The story, we were told, is that he thought Johnny was giving our finish to us, and Johnny thought Pat was giving the finish to us. So when they said, hey, we're sorry, but Steve Austin's who came to us and told us what we were doing. Once again, if Steve Austin came to you and told you this is what you're doing tonight, what are you going to say?
It's what I'm doing.
Yes.
Yeah, you're going to be compliant.
You got it. I'll be there, right where you said, sir. and so, you know, I just assumed, I didn't know how they worked or who was a finished guy or, you know, I didn't know all that. I was in there 2 weeks. Yeah. So when Steve Austin comes to you and says, hey, during your comeback, during Booker's comeback, we'll hit the ring, get on him. We all get on him, and then we'll throw him in the back, and then we'll throw you out the back. So I think right there, they knew there was never going to be a WCW versus WWF at the time.
They had already made up their minds, right?
I'm pretty sure. It just doesn't make sense any other way. For starters, anybody that's got a brain knows my mother didn't call. And even if she did, why wouldn't you say, Bagwell, tell your mother to quit fucking calling us?
Yeah, why not give you a shot?
Give me a warning. Let me know. You know, I didn't know she'd done it. I can't control. She's a human being. I don't know what she'd done. So about halfway through all these questions over the years, I finally went, wait a minute. Let's say she did call. So what? Yeah, I said, that's worth firing somebody that's give you 12 years of unbelievable TV. 6, by the way, World Tag Team titles with 5 different partners. I'm begging somebody to shout back at me and tell me who they know has 6 world titles with 5 different partners. Do I get credit for that? No, I don't.
No, and that was impressive. To speak to that, who did you click best with? Because, you know, you've teamed Two Cold Scorpio, right? Scotty Riggs. Who would you say you teamed best with?
They all were stepping stones to lead to Buff Bagwell. So it was all great. I mean, I think if I had to say, you know, me and Scotty really had it down pat during when it was the craziest, and we were, you know, Scotty was a nut. And you know, Vernon McGuire jerseys, and I mean it just there was just no end, you know, with what Scotty would do. Oh. So I loved it, you know. And then so literally Eric would go, "Hey, everybody's got to check with their agent except Steiner and Bagwell," and of course all the boys were like, you know, like what the hell? So we were like, Eric, you know. You know, so yeah, but we'd have to check with nobody. We just told them what we were doing. This is the idea we got, and they let us do it. But the rest of the guys started doing it too, and it kind of became a cluster a little bit. So They we had to have a meeting where, hey, you got to check your agents, get it approved, except for Scotty and Buff. And we were like, Eric did not just say that out loud. So there went a ton of heat on us.
That puts a target on you guys, right?
Oh, ton of heat.
Everyone else.
Ton of heat dumped on our shoulders right there. But the shit we did was good. And it was better than anybody else's. I mean, from the wheelchair stuff to everything. It was just good stuff. The McGuire stuff. I mean, me dressing up like Scotty.
It was all really good entertainment. Yeah, it was.
You got to realize we were G-rated, bro. G-rated. So we were Andy Griffith, G-rated, pulled off great ratings and a great television show.
It's so hard to do that. Yeah, and Corey, two years in the business now. How many tag team matches would you say you've done? Do you have a consistent partner when you wrestle?
The most tag team I'm doing is with Ryan Clancy, who's out of New Jersey, trained by Lance Storm. Every once in a while on we do birthday shows, which are kind of, less people, so a little bit looser. And we'll tag together. I like tag team wrestling.
I love tag team because you get out, get your breath, and come in wide open.
I love
Instead
that.
of grabbing a wrestle or whatever, you just tag out. And then when you come back in, you're wide open again. Yep. And so your tag match, as far as I believe, should be your best match on your card. I really do. Because you got 5, if you got managers, you got 7 different brains that are trying to get to one finish. And if you pull that 7 guys together and pull it off, it is and should be the best match of the night. There's more entertainment, and the guys can go wide open, take a break instead of grabbing a rest hold and getting your breath. You get your breath. Yeah. You're just tag in and out, doing it again, tag in and out, boom, boom. So I learned tremendous amount from being tag team wrestler against all those different wrestlers. I mean, how close do you think Lex Luger and Tuco Scorpio are? I mean, they're completely different people. How close do you think Dale Wilkes and Scotty Riggs are? Completely different people. So the good news is I had to adapt to them, which made me, not knowing at the time, a better wrestler because I was able to, switch gears to make it happen, like Vicious and Delicious with me and Norton. You had to make it, you had to make it entertaining, and Scotty wasn't exactly the best coming out by himself. He was always big, bad, and tough. I was on his back and all that stuff, and it was much more fun during that time.
And Buff, so fast forwarding a little bit over the years now, so as the Buff character has matured overall, how do you see that it's evolved, and where do you see it heading in the future?
The millennials is who knows Buff Bagwell now.
Yeah, right.
If I ask people their age or something, it's the millennials that were watching me as kids, and now they're the ones that are buying things and can come to buy tickets to come see the show. And so I do fit in because of my age. You got to realize I'm 12 to 14 years younger than about 90% of the company. This is not dogging anybody out. Just so I can clarify that. I'm not dogging anybody out. This is just a fact. This is a fact. So that's when they see us, they go, why do you look so much younger than them? And I go, because I am. I'm 12 to 14 years younger than them. I mean, Nash, Hall, all those guys are 62, 63. Here I am, 50. So it's an average of around 12 years. That's a long time, bro.
That is.
And so
it's a whole career.
When they see it, right. So it was my career, 11 years at WCW on TV. I mean, I've had it for 31 years, but 19's been independent. But guys have busted their ass and been on the road 12 more years than me. That's a long, long time. That's a career and some people's things. So, but the tag team thing really, really, really helped me be a much better wrestler.
That's great. Yeah, and it seems like it would. Corey, you've wrestled the likes of now The Ascension, right? And you currently wrestle with Bull James, formerly Bull Dempsey. So how does it feel being so much younger than them in the ring, guys with so much more experience? How's that work for you?
It's surprisingly comforting. When you're out there, sometimes in front of people and stuff, you get a little bit nervous. And so when you have a veteran in the ring with you, it's comforting to know that you're in good hands. Especially, with Bull, he's trained so well from the Performance Center that he's, when we're out there, he's got everything under control. You don't have to worry about any slip-ups, anybody forgetting anything. The Ascension, great guys, really made me feel like one of the boys when we were back there and out there. Just good friends, really.
And Buff, being, 12, 13 years younger, like you just said, how was it for you getting accustomed to the backstage life, getting in at such a young age with these guys who had been there for longer, more experience?
I realized mine was a little bit different.
Right.
Mine was sitting in a locker room with Ricky Steamboat, Dusty Rhodes, Tony Atlas, Lex Luger, Sting, Nasty Boys, Macho Man, Jake the Snake Roberts, Sid Vicious, and you're this little bitty 20-year-old sitting in the corner that everybody thinks has been fed with a silver spoon in their hand. Mm-hmm. Little do they know, the little kid with the little silver spoon in his hand had been in jail more than everybody in the locker room put together.
Really?
Which was me.
Yeah, I know.
So now the catch is that helped me, because me being a prima donna pretty boy was heat. Then when they found out that Buff may knock you out, I became a pretty boy badass, and that the boys could deal mm-hmm. with.
Right.
But Sting was the first one that took me in, and all the guys were like, "What are you riding with Bagwell for? He's a fag." Eric Bischoff one night asked me that. We was out partying, and Eric wasn't a big fan of mine at first, and he said, "Hey," I just got back from Japan, and he goes, "Hey, it's Marcus Fagwell." And boy, the boys, they pop this. Once they calm down, how does it feel that a fag gets more pussy than you do?
You put him in his place with that one?
And he just like that went, "We're going to get along just fine." Because what do you make a comeback at? You can't make that comeback. I mean, what do you do? I mean, if you call me a fag, let's line up who's with who and see who wins.
Yeah. Was that the attitude back then? Just that all free for all?
That really knocked me off my block a little bit. It's hard to knock me off no matter what. Because I do something that's very simple that everybody should do. And that is called, I tell the truth. At some Mark Bagwell, biggest groupie in the world, all my podcasts together, I guarantee you there is nothing that sideswipes a story or was told differently or this was left out and that was put in. It's the same story, and the reason I don't got no paper or pad in my hand is because it's the truth. It's a fact. Let me tell you a fact. I broke my neck on April 22nd, 1998, and 14 years later, I can prove by video and Kennestone Hospital paperwork that I broke my neck again on the exact same day 14 years later. And that car wreck.
Fathom.
It's stuff I don't tell people. It really is. It's stuff that I don't tell people because I don't want them to think there's no way that's possible. So I just literally don't tell them usually. And if I get asked or something or this kind of situation that gets brought up, I bring it up. But just think about that, dude. 14 years to the day? To the day, bro.
Some people don't believe in coincidence. That's why it's hard to convince them, I bet.
I was so scared. I still am scared. I'm petrified of April 22nd.
How did you break the neck the first time?
Rick Steiner bulldogged me, which I'd taken 10 zillion times.
Right.
But he was injured a little bit at the time, and his shoulder was injured a little bit. So when he went to come off, well, I'm doing the walking in the ring, selling, waiting for the bulldog to come like you do because it's live TV, so you can't just be standing there. Yeah. So you're doing the sell, and here he comes, the bulldog. Well, he misses me on live cameras, live TV, 20 million viewers. So I instantly start trying to catch up with him to at least make it look like he got a little bit of me, and the announcers could say, well, he got just enough of Bagwell there, but he kicked out or anything, and just to save it. And the problem is when he missed me, he hit the mat and came back into me. And when he did, my head went that way. And if you ever heard anybody talk about when you fall, they tell you to what? tuck your
Chin.
chin. Because that way, tucking your chin, your neck has got a lot more range. This way, you ain't got about that far. And so when you went that way against a guy coming against you, and you having nothing to put, my hands couldn't hit the ground yet. So it was nothing but just my face into his back with him springing into me. I instantly knew I was paralyzed. It wasn't like, this is a stinger, you know, you're hurt. I've been hurt enough. I played ball my whole life. I've been hurt enough to know what hurt is and what really hurt is. And this was really hurt, which meant paralyzed. It swelled, which paralyzed me. But by the time I got to the hospital and the CAT scans and MRIs and all that, the swelling had gone down. The doctor comes in and goes, here I was paralyzed 2 hours ago. And he goes, set up, bro. I go, are you sure? So, I mean, the duck head across the forehead, all that. So they take all the tape off and all that. And I just slowly kind of start setting up and my arms can move and I can pose and I get to my feet and I can walk.
It's amazing.
What medically happened to me was I bruised my spinal cord. And when you bruised it, swelling happens, which makes you feel 100% like you're paralyzed.
Okay.
But then when the swelling goes down, you're able to move everything until they get in there to be able to fix it.
I'm happy it wasn't anything worse than that.
I'm right at 100%, bro. I really am, which I never thought.
That's so great to hear.
I mean, I don't hurt. I can go do chest and not hurt and get good workouts in. I've gotten muscle mass back on me again, finally, because when you lose your shoulders, brother, you lose everything, because shoulders takes arms to train, chest to train, shoulders to train, back to train. You got to have shoulders for everything. So you lose your shoulders, you're losing your body. And that's why, you know, I lost so much size, and I'm getting it back now and getting better and better.
It takes a lot
getting it on the trick
to hold up the Buff, you know, name. I mean, that is, you know, it takes a lot to hold up that whole.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I really thought that was a curse for a while, and then I turned it into a good thing, because when you're Buff Bagwell, you better show up Buff Bagwell at some degree. You know, in some degree of coolness, you better show up as Buff Bagwell, body, not body, whatever, outfit, cool shirt, whatever it may be, to be Buff Bagwell, because that's a name that people, as soon as I step out of the door of my house, I'm getting judged. I'm getting judged. At the gym today when I go, I'll be judged. It just happens. It's just the way it is. And that's just, and there's nothing wrong with that. I like that. I love it. I like that.
Yeah, it fuels you.
But it keeps me fueled. Exactly. It keeps me fueled. I'm still buff. They're like, man, look at that. He is 50. It still looks like that, you know? So, you know, I dare somebody 50 that wants to get in a pose down with me.
So how did you become Buff Bagwell from Marcus Alexander Bagwell? How did that transition occur?
Nick Patrick.
Okay.
Nick Patrick, the referee for us, is who named
it.
We were on a flight home from like the West Coast, and we're all in first class, and we're trying to think of a name. It was time for me to have a name, like The Rock, Stone Cold, Total Package, whatever, Sting. It was just time that Marcus Alexander Bagwell wasn't doing it, even though that's my real name. And my parents loved it. It just wasn't, it was time to add something to it. And out of nowhere in the back corner, you hear a voice go, what about Buff Bagwell? And there was not another person that said another thing. That was it. Buff.
It was just that perfect.
It was perfect. As soon as we ever heard it, we all went, that's it. Buff Bagwell. I mean, that's perfect.
How old were you at that time?
That'd have been 25.
Okay. Corey, so you went from Corey Peters to Corey Cooper to Double C, right? How did that come about? Did you have to come up with that on your own, or the company that you're with, did they?
After I was training for about 6 months or so, it was time for me to, have my first match.
Right.
And the guy who trains me or runs the company that I train for was telling me, you should probably think of changing at least one of your names. So that way, if you ever do get signed, they can buy the name and then you'll make like a little bit more money that way.
Okay.
So I was just, shopping around last names. And at the time, on my fantasy football team, my number one player was Cooper Kupp. So I just threw that one at Corey Cooper. And double C, I don't know. I just kind of always liked, the double letters, just like Buff Bagwell.
Good idea. You're right. It does always seem to be with the same letter, it being kind of cool, Yeah, Lex Luger, LL. I mean, think about it. If you name a lot of names, man, that's.
But as somebody, Buff, who's been, who's had this name now for how long? 18 years or more now?
About 21 years I've been Buff Bagwell.
Okay.
I'd say.
So you've been having that character for so long. What do you think about Corey Cooper versus Double C? Do you have any suggestions that you maybe could give?
As you were telling the story, the only thing I had an opinion on was, and keep in mind, I hated Marcus Alexander Bagwell. I hated it. But Doug Rhodes is who hired me and named me that. And so you go, yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
You. Yes.
And, but, my parents loved it and all that, but I hated it because, it's just stupid. It was cheesy. And, but it's tough. Like, for example, if I changed my name, no matter what, no matter how cool it is, what are people still going to call me? Buff Bagwell. So that's where you got to be careful with the CC and being careful with changing names. That was my only suggestion, and obviously it hasn't hurt. And if it's cooler, is the catch. Buff was cooler than Marcus Alexander Bagwell, so people started calling me Buff instead of Marcus Alexander Bagwell. I still got huge Marcus Alexander Bagwell fans, but I got tons of Buff Bagwell fans,
Yeah.
So, but you do gotta be careful with changing that name. A lot of people don't know this, but like Kane was Sir Yankum. He was Diesel when they made the fake Diesel.
Yeah.
So he's 0 for 2. So you know what they do for people that are 0 for 2?
Go for a third.
Put a mask on them.
Oh.
Put a mask on.
That's
You
great.
got to. You got to put a mask on him to let it go away. And he's had a 20-something year run there. And he's the nicest guy in the world. But it is hard to change your name and get everybody on board with calling you Buff Bagwell or calling you Kane or calling you, Sir Yankum. And it just gets a little too confusing for them. So there is a fine line with that name change thing. There is a fine line with it. But I love Double C. I think, like I said, we just proved Lex Luger. Hey, Scott Steiner, SS. Mark Marrow, MM. I can just keep going on and on with it, and it's the truth. It sounds better.
It does.
It sounds better with the initials.
Buff, so similar to today, I've heard you say in the past that you think it's better to go into the business when there's at least two big companies, right, for that negotiating power in the back of your pocket, let's say.
Yes.
You know better than most how it feels to go head-to-head with WWE, and right now, I don't know if you keep up with it, but AEW is on the rise. Do you have any thoughts on how that may turn out for AEW going head-to-head with a company like that? I
think they're in the same boat we were in. They're in the same exact – nobody has a really good answer to this with the coronavirus thing hitting. When I watched the other night, and there were 12 wrestlers around the ring watching the match, was really depressed and a little bit mad that the business had got to where there's 12 people around the ring. Now, here's the worst part. I didn't know but one of them. Billy Gunn. So here's a bunch of people around the ring trying to act like it's a big match. And there's 11 people that are trying to act like they're cheering it on, but they don't want to look goofy either. So there are fine lines there. And there's Billy Gunn out there, which is one of the biggest stallion, best workers I've ever been in my life in the ring with. 280 and can move like a cat. I think they're exactly where we were. They're just another company trying to beat WWE, and who knows if they will or not. Like I said, nobody saw us beating them 83 consecutive weeks.
Yeah.
That's a year and a half, bro. That's a year and 3/4 almost.
I know.
I mean, a year and 3/4, every single Monday we won. Vince was flipped. So we're thinking, oh my God, we don't want to put them out of business. Oh my God. And little did we know, he bought us. We were like, well, so much for that.
You can never sleep on Vince McMahon, I guess, right?
No. And it all comes down to when your contract is up. If my contract would have just had a little bit of different spacing, I'd been fine. But the problem was the reason why you saw Booker, Dallas, and me first with the other kind of mid-card guys, your Palombos, your Jendraks, your O'Haras. First was because our contracts were up.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
So the reason why you didn't see Lex is because Lex sitting at home collecting every 2 weeks. And the reason why you didn't see Sting, he is at home collecting every 2 weeks. There's nothing wrong with that. I'd have done the same thing.
No.
Why would I go to a bloody war with Chevy and Ford trying to merge and figure out who's going to be the top players? And it was just like I said, it was just heat from day one on who was who and who was going to make it. It was brutal. Like I said, first one through the door is going to get a little bloody, and I was first one through, and I got bloody.
Corey, so as an avid fan and an up and coming star now, how do you feel about the AEW WWE situation?
I like it. It's more wrestling to watch is always better, and more opportunities for young guys to come in and really break into the business is always good. More opportunities on television is awesome. You see a lot of people, especially now on AEW, that you may never have heard of before. Some of the guys they're bringing in to work matches on Dark and even on TV now on Dynamite, which is awesome. It's great to see guys.
It's giving a lot of people shots, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people are getting a shot, so I like that. So hopefully, when I get back to wrestling after this pandemic, I'd really like to get a shot on either Dark or, doing a job for WWE.
Yeah, me and Scotty Riggs were dark match for the very first Nitro in Mall of America. And that was when Luger showed up unannounced and all that. It was a pretty big deal. But we were dark match, which was dark match for any show. That means you're just next. You're next to get pushed, you know. And so it's great to be the dark match. You know that you're just next, and they trust you enough to go out there. And because the fans don't know that, Nitro really hadn't started yet. They're just there to watch wrestling and have fun. And so, it just really, you are part of the show, because it ain't like, even though it's dark, they don't know the cameras ain't on.
Yeah.
It's still rolling. We're still doing it. We're still going. And that was the same night that Pillman started the first match off with the Dragon guy.
Ultimo Dragon?
Ultimo Dragon. That's it.
There you go. Yeah.
That's it. It was Ultimo Dragon and Brian Pillman. Was the very first match of Nitro, the very first Nitro.
How do you feel that night? That's the same night Lex Luger got snuck in, right, for the big, opening.
Same night.
How was that? I've heard so many stories about that. How was that?
It wasn't that big a deal to us, really, because first of all, me and my best friend that rode together on every road trip was me and Sting.
Mm-hmm.
So Sting and Luger are best friends. So it was as easy for us all to merge together, and we rode together and trained together and tanned together. So it was always me, Sting, and Luger, and whoever was my partner, which was either Norton or Del Wilkes or Scotty Riggs. I mean, I can't tell you how many rounds of golf me and Luger and Sting and Scotty Riggs have played. When the ninth green, we've had chicken sandwiches delivered to us. But and these were the good old days. But yeah, we had a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun.
You still keep in touch with those, with like Sting and Luger and?
Just saw Sting about a month ago. Just talked to Luger about a week ago. He just had a birthday.
Oh, that's so nice.
So I wish him happy birthday. And talked to Sting about. I saw him and Luger the same day about 2 months ago. And got a picture with him. And but we like right now, if I called him and he didn't answer, he'd call back in 10 minutes. So that's a good feeling to know.
So you got a good relationship with him.
And the Steiner boys live right here beside me. They live 10 minutes from me. So I'm seeing Scotty, and Johnny Stringer lives right here beside me. And so a lot of guys live right here, you know, because when people moved to Atlanta, they found out Atlanta was a pretty good city. And it wasn't just to save on number of days on the road. It was actually a pretty good city.
Yeah, to stick around in. That's great. What was for you, because you say it's the good old days, what was the emotional impact for you and obviously professional when WCW did get bought by WWE? How'd you feel? I mean, you cultivated such a, you know, good feeling with all the guys in WCW.
I really thought it was going to be like everybody else did. I think I thought it was going to be off the chain. I thought, oh my God, this is what everybody's wanted. Can you imagine the endless storylines when you've got the WCW versus the WWF? And very simple math, every WrestleMania, you make all the world title matches. You have your this one thing I hate about WWF. I hate it. They got too many belts. There's too many belts. There's just too confusing. It's like boxing. You see all those boxers with 12 belts on them. What the fuck does it really mean? I mean, when you're the world heavyweight champion, how many belts are they? One belt. When you're the tag team champions, there's 2 belts, one for each guy.
One each.
There's a United States heavyweight championship, and there's a television championship. We had 4 or 5 belts. Dude, I can just, off the top of my head, name 9 they got. Intercontinental, Universal. I mean, it just goes on and on and on, man. It makes the belts mean less, is what it does. Very simple. Very simple, makes the belts mean less. When you carried the world heavyweight championship belt, you were the world heavyweight champion, bro. And that meant something. Now there's Universal, Intercontinental, United States. It's just unbelievable. I mean, it's just so many different ones that I've never seen anything like it. They should cut their belts in half. I mean, literally, just get rid of half of them. Half of them should be gone. Let the rest of the guys fight for the 4 belts instead of having all these guys fight for 8. Every person that comes out has a belt. Everybody. In the match, somebody's got a belt. That's not good. Let those 2 guys be fighting. It's the shot of the belt. You know, make the belt mean something. The belt means nothing no more. I was at a dinner table with Sting one time. This has been probably 91, 2, 3-ish. And they wanted to put the belts on him. And as they were continuing the story, he said, I don't want it. Now here's a rookie going, you don't want the belt? Are you kidding me? And he said, don't want it. He said, it's better for me as a baby face to be chasing the belt than to be having it and defending it. It's better for me to be chasing it and having Rude have the belt, or Vader, and then Sting's the up and coming rookie that's going to try to come get the belt this time. And it's the truth. But to hear a guy say it when they're offering you the world title and you go, nah, that don't make sense to me. I was like,
that's amazing.
I'm trying to whisper to him, and he's like, you know, no, it's better for babies to chase. And it really is. It really is better for the babies to chase.
Corey, have you won any gold yet in NYWC?
Yeah, so back last June, I had my first title match at a beer festival. You know, we put on a nice show for the festival there. And in the main event, they put the championship on the line with special guest ref Jerry Lynn. And I ended up going over with one of my good friends. And so, yeah, I won my first title last year in June. It was a great experience. Had a lot of fun doing that.
How'd you get told you were winning the belt? What were those feelings that were going through your head?
About, you know, maybe a half an hour before, I got told, hey, we're gonna put it on you this time. And so we kind of had to rework what we had planned, because I actually thought it was going to go to my friend.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a lot of time to switch it up, is it?
Yeah, no, it's not.
Just under the gun a little bit.
Yeah.
Buff, what about you? So when you won that first, I mean, you won 6 tag team belts, right? So when you won that first, how'd you feel?
Oh my God! When I won my first World Tag Team title, let's see, my first would have been with Scorpio, and we beat the Nasty Boys, and this is when they were coming off the WWF big and the end of the run, but a huge WWF run, you know.
Yeah.
And then me and Scorpio beat, you know, the Nasty Boys for the world titles, you know. So it was definitely like a real experience. And even though people want to think it's fake or say it's fake or whatever, they're not in the ring getting a hot tag from Scott Steiner, and Rick Steiner's giving Goldberg a hot tag, and I got to come face Rick Goldberg. So they're not sitting there seeing a 280-pound bull come at you. So they people that talk that kind of stuff, it just kills me, because they don't know, because they never been there. There's a guy named Dave Meltzer that does all kind of stuff on podcast. I mean, not podcast, maybe podcast. I don't know, but he has hated me for 31 entire years.
Oh my
and
God.
I swear to God on my life, if I only had 2 choices to pick from on who it was, Dave Meltzer, I could not, with a gun to my head, I could not go. That's Dave. I don't know what he looks like. I don't care. This is when the dirt sheets used to come. This is when the dirt sheets used to come like this.
Oh man.
They came like
Yeah.
They came like that, and they were like a little bitty book, like a little bitty newspaper. And everybody read the dirt. It's why they call them the dirt sheets.
Yeah.
You're not everybody, but most of your boys were digging in, reading it, and I swear to God to you, not because of not caring really, just what they said didn't matter with my career anyway, and they'd never even been in Dave Meltzer's never even climbed inside of a wrestling ring before, so how can he judge what I do? But he sure had a real big mouth, and he ran it, and it didn't hurt me none. I care less. But the only reason I even heard the Dave Meltzer name is because your Ravens, I hate to say it, and Ravens by no means a middle card guy, but it was your middle-ish bottom card guys that really dove into in other words, you never saw Sting reading a dirt sheet, put that way. You never saw Lex reading a dirt sheet.
It just didn't matter to them.
We looked at how much money we were making. That's what we do. We got in this business to make money. Now, there's other people like Scotty Riggs, which is nothing wrong with this, dressed up, as a wrestler for Halloween, and would go to shows and wrestle for free. And me and Lex and Sting just wasn't that kind of people. We got in this business for a business. Right. And then we learned to respect it. But we got in this strictly to make money. This was not I was cool the day I was born. I didn't get in this to be cool. I don't need to be cool. I'm already cool. So, and I'm not trying to be cool by saying I'm already cool, but I am cool.
You just are.
Man, I don't really need to be a wrestler to be able to walk out my door and feel good about myself and be cool at a club. I already have that covered. So wrestling just came along with it to the point where everybody was like, God, this is perfect for you, Bagwell. So it worked for a great time, had a great run, 11 years, and guys would come back from WWF and go, you're still here? And I'd be like, shh.
Hiding,
yeah. Shut up, bro. And I would have, and I made it through all the bosses, but I would have not made it through Bill Watts, which was right before Eric Bischoff. I would not have made it by him if me and Eric wasn't best friends. But me and Eric Watts were like as tight can get best friends.
Right.
So he couldn't fire his son's best friend. And keep in mind, it wasn't like I was a jabroni that they were just keeping on board here. I'm making $500,000 a year at this stage.
Yeah.
So this is something I've paid my dues, and I've, worked my ass off and became champion several times. And it's just a very, very hard business. And it's not because I'm just in this business because I say that, but it really is hard. I've seen super athletes that couldn't even run the ropes. And so SCC, I'm sure. And I have seen guys that couldn't throw a football from 10 yards away, get in the ring, and be the best professional wrestler you've ever seen in your life. So it's a very, very, very different business. It really is. You got to have a little bit of everything, but not too much of something, and a little of something and a lot of something, and you got to kind of get it out. It takes you a while to figure it out, to come up with Buff. He's Buff with the dance. And
right.
He's Buff. Yeah. He's stuff. And then boom, 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 the pyro. All that stuff just kind of comes, man, But at the same time, you got to have it in here. I mean, you got to have what's called, and everybody knows this word, it's called the it factor. And you got to have the it factor or you're done. You got to have some kind of something about you that's intriguing, or why would anybody want to watch you?
Corey, I don't want to put you on the spot, but let me ask you, what is your it factor? What is Double C's it factor? Corey Cooper, what's going to cause people to remember you every time they come to NYWC to see you?
Well, Corey Cooper, I will tell you for a fact, is always going to be the most athletic guy in the show. He's always going to go out there and give you 100%. He's going to do everything he can to win. And hopefully he does win a lot. You're never going to forget a Corey Cooper match because there's always going to be at least one thing that Corey Cooper does that you have never seen before live.
That's a great answer. And to go along with that is like talking about every week, nobody saw a pair of tights on me back to back the same week, different weeks, same tights. So once you start something like that, you got to keep it going, and it's got to be different and keep giving them different things. But you got to realize Marcus Alexander Bagwell came out and got booed by the guys and got cheered by the girls. But then when I came up with the Buff character, now Buff was kind of cool enough where some of the guys could be like, hey man, Buff's kind of cool. You know, he's pretty cool. So it leveled the booze more to the 80-20, you know, instead of 50-50 kind of thing, you know, where the husband or boyfriend wouldn't be mad at the girlfriend for, you know, cheering Buff on. And so it became where the guys could root for me too, because I was cocky, I was funny. And when like you said a minute ago, and this is something that's very important, I want you to remember this. It doesn't matter who wins or loses, because I can't tell you how many times matches have ended and people go, God, that was a great match. That was a great match. Who won? And that's the whole point, is entertaining them so much. And that's what I would do. I would entertain them so much that it didn't even matter who won or lost. It was just a great match. But also along with that goes, you're only as good, and remember this too, as Ric Flair told me, you're only as good as who you're wrestling. You can be the baddest, coolest, best wrestler on the face of this planet and be in the ring with somebody that has no freaking idea what they're doing, and you, my friend, are going to look stupid. And so is he. And it's happened to me a million times. It'll happen to you a million, but you can't let it bother you. And you try to start muscling around, and both you guys start kind of muscling each other around, and it becomes a clusterfuck. You've been in several of them. I have too.
Yep.
It's just so embarrassing, but you know, it does happen though. It does happen, you know. But that's where it becomes. People think wrestling's fake, but it's still, you know, 250-pound plus guys in the ring, and one of them don't want to lose, and so he's gonna try to get his shots in when he can. But you bad enough to take a swing back at Goldberg or Steiner back, you know. And if you're not, then they take advantage of you. If you are tough enough and bad enough, then you do it, and you're good to go.
That's why, you know, wrestling at the New York Wrestling Connection is. I wrestle and train with like such great guys that when we go on shows, we always, no matter who we put against each other, who's in the ring, we always have such great chemistry together. So really, you know, I've been kind of blessed early in my career.
Great, that's fantastic. That is very lucky. And just remember, bro. I mean, people dog me all the time about it, but I know what the guy in the third row, what kind of gum he's chewing. I know what everybody's doing, because when the match is over and let's say you're in a 6-man, the match was a cluster and you were in the match. It don't matter who did what, it's still going to be a cluster. And so you've got to, that's why I always knew every person what they were doing. So I was like, if they had called a spot that I know they're not very good at, I was ready to cover it.
Yep.
I'd be ready. So always have the way to be the best pro wrestler is having a plan B. And I have a plan C. Gotcha. I have an A, B, and C, bro. And that way there's no way to mess up. You're always ready for, you know, even in baseball, how I learned it was in baseball.
Gotcha.
What do you do when the ball's hit to you? Before every batter came up, I'd say, okay, what am I doing when the ball's hit to me? So, because no matter where your brain goes, you know automatically where the ball's going to go once the ball's hit. Whether it's turn, don't play, whether it's go to second, whether it's whatever it is, you're ready for it, so you don't get surprised and don't know what to do. You know, so it's just knowing your surroundings. Knowing what guys have called what spots, because when I do my matches, I want to hear what everybody's doing. And I'll say, well, why do you want to do that? Why not do this instead? And they'll go, well, yeah, that is a little better. and it's just from knowledge and 31 years of doing it. But at the same time, sometimes they go, well, we're doing it because of that. And so I go, okay. And when we get to the bat, they go, we should listen to you. And I go, well, I tried, brother. I said, I tried to tell you that wasn't going to work with this crowd. And when they've been out there for 3 hours, I said so, but you learned a lesson and just try to pay attention, you know.
Buff, do you have any defining matches of your career? I know it's such a long career, but if you could pick, one or two, what would you say are ones that defined the Buff character and just gave you great memories?
I mean, I'd have to go. I'd have to go with beating Ric Flair and Roddy Piper back to back. But the problem with that is the third week, David Flair beat me in front of 85,000 people in Georgia.
Right.
So I beat Flair. I beat Piper back to back. Flair, and when I got to the back, Lex Luger goes, I want to congratulate you on something. I said, congratulate me on what? He goes, for beating Ric Flair. I go, you beat Ric Flair before? He goes, I've never beaten Ric Flair. And I went,
oh, wow.
What? So to this day, Lex Luger has never beaten Ric Flair. So for me to get that win, and I found out David's beating me, I didn't go to the boss. I went straight to Rick. I said, Rick, do you really think your son that can't even hit the ropes right now is ready for this? I just beat Roddy Piper and you, which means if he beats me, he beat all of us. And he's got red cheeks. He looks like he's lost, like a deer in headlights.
Yeah.
He can't hit the ropes. Almost had to pin my own self. I literally did. I had to hook my own leg. I had to like grab him and have him hook my leg to pin me. It was the most embarrassing thing I ever been through in my life. And the crowd, and we were number one on Nitro, the Georgia Dome, sold out. And the crowd, if you can imagine, just went like, it was the worst sound I've ever heard in my life. I was like,
suck the energy right out of them.
Just get me as fast as I can to that Nitro sign and get out of this. And the whole walk, when I was walking as fast as I could, the whole walk was, don't worry about it, Bagwell. They're just messing with you. Don't worry about it. That didn't make me look stupid. David Flair beat me. That made our company look stupid.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, I wasn't too far later where my mother was the World Tag Team Champion and David Arquette was the heavyweight champion. So we just lost all control, dude.
I want to get back to your mother being the World Tag Team Champion, but Corey, let me just ask you, do you have any defining matches yet in your career? I know it's still a young career, or matches that maybe didn't go how you planned for them to go.
I've definitely had some matches that didn't go how we planned, but you kind of just try and grind through it. But defining matches, I definitely go in the beer festival, just being in the same ring with Jerry Lynn, who's one of the guys that, is the reason why I'm in this business. So that's always awesome. The Ascension, great. Watched him on TV. 2 years later, I'm wrestling him.
That must feel great, seriously.
Can't get much better than that. Rich Swann, another guy who's the reason why I'm even here today. Saw him 2017 Royal Rumble, him versus Neville, and I was like, wow, this is something I would love to be a part of. 2 years later, Rich Swann versus Corey Cooper versus Jaden Vallow. And so those are some of the most defining matches of my career.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it.
That's good ones.
And Buff, so your mother, I've heard before, how she got into it. What did that feel like to you, having your mother as a World Tag Team Champion?
I thought it kind of worked because she got over, and so it worked.
Yeah.
The whole idea was Rick Steiner's, and Rick Steiner came up with the idea of, I broke my neck in Columbia, South Carolina, like we mentioned before, April 22nd.
Yes.
But it was in Columbia, South Carolina is where I broke it. So they had her the next time we were there, which is 3 months later. I'm 50 pounds light. I've gone to the overalls and NWO shirt and covering up because I lost 50 pounds, and the top hat came out. And that's when I started coming up with different ideas, because you got to get creative, because I'd lost my size. And yet I can't work out for 3 months. He made me beg me. He begged me to promise him I couldn't work out for 3 consecutive months, because that's total fusion at 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Then at 3 months and 1 day, I was right back in the gym, you know, but so it was Rick's idea. And so she came to Columbia with me. It's me, Dad. My dad was there with me and her, and they showed up and we were backstage. Well, I could see the closer we got to showtime, she was getting nervous. And I was like, and I pulled her to the side. And we're a real, we were a redneck family with money. So we were real dangerous. You know, we were rednecks that had money and wits and looks and athleticism. So we were hated. That heat word means nothing to me. That's called jealousy, is what's called in Marietta. They call that jealousy in Marietta, Georgia, but they call it heat in wrestling. So whatever you want to call it, if Mark Bagwell's pulled up at 15 years old in a 1985 red Corvette, that's heat. You know, so, you know, it just is what it is. But, she, you know, it was getting to where I was losing her. And so I pulled her to the side and I said, you got to kick out, man. I said, my mom ran a lumber company for 17 years. That's how we were rich growing up, because we had a lumber company called Southeastern Building Supply, and that's where my brothers worked, and I was the baby, and we made, I mean, business. I mean, back in the 80s, 70s, and 80s. So we were rolling, and but Scotty hated women being involved at all. Really? So Mom, I can tell you, I was losing her. She wasn't getting fired up. And I could tell she was getting scared, which you wouldn't be. You're getting ready to go live on Nitro. So I could already tell I was going to come up with something out there to get her, you know. So her deal was to climb up the steps, stay on the apron, and me and her have you shouldn't do this. I raised you better than this, and that kind of thing, and all that, you know. Well, I needed to say something to get her going, and what I said was true, and it pissed her off. But I said, listen, old lady, I said, without me, you can't even eat.
Ooh.
And brother, here she come. She came in the ring, and she goes straight to Scotty, and Scotty almost breaks her arm.
Oh,
if you ever watch the tape back, he grabs her arm and like, get your damn arm off on me, old lady, and just almost breaks her arm. So she comes over with me, and we have like a face-to-face.
Yeah.
As he by the and drags me out by the ear, all the way up the apron, all the way up to the very beginning. And for some reason, keep in mind, she raised me, the apple don't fall far from the tree, and she throws me in the back by my ear. And for some reason, she turns around and raises her hands to the crowd, and the fans went nuts. From that point on, Judy Bagwell was over, dude. She was over.
It's like a house of fire after that, right? That's great.
She was really popular.
So 2 wrestlers in the family at that point, right?
Yes.
How are your brothers feeling? How was your dad?
Well, actually, my middle brother made the last Nitro. He kept coming to me, wanting me to help him. And I said, John, my name is Buff Bagwell, and look how I look. I can't have you come in being chunky and chubby and be my partner or something. I can't do that. I'm Buff Bagwell, bro. I said, me and Scotty got the 2 best bodies in the business at this stage.
Yeah.
I said, so you're going to have to do. So he did. He got in shape, dyed his hair blonde, which he always had blonde hair, but I did like a platinum blonde, and got real tan, and then I gave him a couple of cool shirts to wear. But he made the last 2 Nitros like in the background when Mom would get. Remember when Canyon was doing the diamond cutters on everybody?
Yeah.
She took about 1,000 of those at 60.
At 60.
60 years old, she was doing it, bro. So I had her talked into a full-time contract, and we landed, and her appendix burst.
Right. I've heard that.
Straight
Yeah.
to the straight to the hospital. End of her career.
Terrible time, but terrible thing in general. How would your mother get involved, Corey?
She's not the biggest fan of me putting myself at risk in the wrestling business, so I don't think she would want to be in the ring herself.
I get it. And Buff, your mother's loved it so much she did it with you. So
Oh, she loved it, dude. She was there with me. And keep in mind, this is when I was getting drilled on the internet and all that. So
yeah.
she thought she was going to come on the road and see how much trouble her son was causing. Well, she got on the road and her son was doing nothing wrong. So she started being my heat. I was having to cover her mouth and go, shut the fuck up. What are you doing? Shut up, you know? He's not signed in yet. He didn't sign in. And so once she figured out that I had done nothing wrong and all of it was just internet, blah, blah, blah.
Bullshit, yeah.
Hard to get along with Mark Bagwell, which is, anybody's ever met Mark Bagwell, one of the nicest guys on the face of this planet. And I've always been like that. I always tell it straight up. If you want to know if your shirt looks good on you, and you want to know the truth, don't ask me, because I'm going to tell you if your shirt looks good on you or not. Right. And that's just the way I've always been, because I just don't lie. I can't do it. I can't do it. Even if I said, oh, that shirt looks pretty good, I finally had to go, I can't say that, bro. That shirt looks like that. Shirt looks like I couldn't do it.
It's a good quality to have. It comes in handy.
I think it's good, but then again, I'd be surprised if people don't like that. So it's you love me or you hate me pretty quick. And same with my mother, because I'm just like my mother, which is she tells the truth. Mm-hmm. I'd rather have somebody tell me the truth. I mean, if I got a booger in my nose, tell me there's a booger in my nose. Don't let me walk around with a booger in my nose and not tell me.
Don't sugarcoat it, right? Yeah.
But there's some people that are like that. There's some people that think, hey, well, just let it go. It's just none of your business, I'm like, God dang, dude, I'm telling everybody that in the world if something was wrong with them. Hey, you missed the belt loop, whatever, I mean, just why not help somebody out?
Corey, when you were, obviously coming up 2 years in the business now, who inspired your style? I know you mentioned Rich Swann, a couple of others, the high flying offense. Who are you trying to, emulate or incorporate into your moveset?
I always try and be as original as I can.
Right.
When I'm out there, I always try and come up with something that, like I said, that the people haven't seen before. I want to bring new things to the business. But growing up, I was always a big Jeff Hardy guy. And so like that risk-taking aspect, I always found that really drew the people in, because you never knew what he was going to do next during the match,
Exactly, yeah.
I try and incorporate that fear factor into it. Right now, I could say the most I draw from would probably be AJ Styles when I watch his match, just from he's so athletic, but he could hit so hard at the same time. He brings both of those aspects to it.
Exactly. And for Buff, what about you when you were coming up? I know you got into the business to make money. I don't know if you watched when you were a kid and that was always your dream, but what pieces do you try to pull to put into your moveset?
I didn't do that until I got in the business. Once I got into business, like I'd take a few things from Flair, a few things from Rude, a few things from guys I liked, and that's what everybody does. Mm-hmm. And they take a few things from everybody to try to create Buff or CC. You come up with those things to make you, like if Ric Flair every match didn't do the shoot him in the turnbuckle, flip over, go to the top rope, grab him, he give you the office, slam him off the top. It wouldn't be a Ric Flair match. You got to do it because somebody came to see that, and that's his deal. That's his mojo. And
that's somebody would be me.
You gotta leave him to the fans, you know.
You got to leave him something to remember, right?
Yes, like me coming out with my top hat.
They wouldn't even know who you were. So no.
No, they'd be like, "Where's your hat at?" I'm like, "We're like, you just go home. We want to see your hat."
As for Buff, obviously it's in your name, huge, as in getting in shape. And Corey, you're around a lot of the newer guys. How has that changed? The getting into shape for wrestling. Does the body really matter? Does that like quintessential body really matter? I'll ask Corey, you first.
I'm a proponent of you should look like an athlete no matter what. You should always present yourself as an athlete, and so you should always try and be in shape. Now, a lot of the guys that are coming up now, like myself, we just aren't as big. We're pretty much sub 220, around 220, sub 250. So just slimmer guys, but still should always be in the gym at least 6 days a week, always, grinding to try and look the best they can.
Right. And Buff, your opinion on this?
My opinion on it is I think that back in the day, well, let's go this route. 100 years ago, what did wrestlers wear?
Tights, boots, knee pads.
Boom, no shirt. 50 years ago, what did they do?
Same thing.
30 years ago, what did they do?
Pretty much the same thing.
And same thing with me and Scotty. If you had a body, you had your shirt off and you just brought what you had to the table and you had some kind of gimmick. Well, slowly but surely, more guys kept working out less and less, and T-shirts became okay to wear, even though 100 years ago, not one man had a shirt on in the ring. And you said always looking athletic. You can't tell me they're not wearing that shirt because they don't look athletic.
Yep.
I mean, I don't care if he wants to call me up, meet me somewhere. Be more than happy to meet him and talk to him about it. But the Owens kid, for example, looks like a fat, chubby nothing. I mean, zero. He's a zero. He would not even be middle of the card on Nitro. He wouldn't even been a dark match on Nitro. And here he is carrying a belt around, Universal something. I don't know. He's something. And is he a great worker? Yes. But at the same time, I will defend him. It became a time where me and Scotty were cookie cutters. Once everybody figured it out on cutting your carbs, doing cardio, eating right, training hard, it just looked like we all looked the same. It was a bunch of cookie cutters. So at first, the shirt thing was cool until everybody started wearing the shirt. I was like, is there anybody that's got the gall to take their shirt off and show their body anymore? So it just that I have a real pet peeve with that, because that's not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be athletic performance. It ain't skins versus shirts. It's take your shirt off and you don't wrestle with your shirt on. Take the shirt,
Corey,
pull it over your head and beat your brains out.
So Corey, what about you? Do you wrestle with your shirt on or off, or what's your deal in the ring?
Let me get this straight right now. Every single time I step in that ring, I take my shirt off, because I always, on every card, have the best body, and I'm going to show it to you right now.
I like that. See, that's cocky. I like that.
Ballsy, yeah. Wow, look at that.
Oh, yeah, Hogan does too. Let me see. Go back to him so I can see him. He does got a good physique.
Yeah, man, I lift.
Oh, yeah. No, you got great physique, dude. You got great physique.
Little sunburn
yesterday. Can you imagine what we did when we saw Scotty Steiner walk out the first time? We all went, oh, my God. And then I'm his partner. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I ran with a broke neck, skinny as a rail, and he's shredded like a cartoon character. And so I finally got in enough shape where I could walk out with him and at least hang with him. Yeah. He turned sideways He was three-dimensional. I turned sideways. I disappeared. So, but still, coming straight out, I was right with him with pecs and abs and shoulders. But if he turned, he was 280, baby. I mean, it ripped 280. But you got a good physique, man. And you're how old are you?
Me? I'm 21 years old.
Oh, my God, dude. By the time you're 25, you're going to be jacked and be able to just keep stretching.
Yeah.
And just make sure you keep doing these moves as you're gaining the weight, because like I remember doing pull-ups one time and I could always do 10, and I didn't realize if I'd gained 10 pounds. And I went to my brother and I said, dude, I can only get 6 pull-ups today. He said, you gained 10 pounds. And I went, I didn't think about that. So you're pulling 10 more pounds. So my point is always try to keep up with your body, and you are going to get weaker at like pull-ups because you're more heavy, and all that, but just be smart. And please listen to this, to an old man. If you can't do 8, lower the weight. And if you can get 8, that's great.
Yeah.
But it just ain't worth the 2 and 3 reps and taking a chance on tearing a pec or something. It just ain't worth it, man. Get 8 reps or don't do it.
Yep.
That's just, if you'll follow that rule right there, man, I promise you, with your physique and your symmetry, you'll be a stallion at 25.
Thank you.
If I could take you, you'd be a stallion at 23.
Buff, that's really one-of-a-kind advice. That's great. But I got to say, I mean, you're Buff the Stuff Bagwell. Where is it? Where's the stuff?
Oh, God, well, let me.
There we go. That's what the people.
Don't let the youngster, outdo you here.
No, I can't. Can't do that.
Still got it, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Nice.
Buff Daddy, baby.
Oh, yeah. If only you had the music, the pyro,
The back, baby. Nobody's got a back like that.
Oh, nobody's got it, but Double C will get there, but not yet.
Not yet.
Look at this. You got that dance? There it is. Yeah.
There it is.
And you gotta rock it at the end. You gotta rock it though. You gotta rock it, and then you gotta go. Boom.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna remember that. When I go out and use the buff dance in the club. But thank you both so much. I hope this was as enjoyable for you as it was for
man,
us
I
here.
really enjoyed it. And good luck with CC, good luck with your career, man. Really, good luck. And just at your age, all you gotta do is pay attention and stay healthy. That's what I'm telling you. Stretch.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, stretch, dude. That's what happens to guys. That's why they got stretch marks on their arms. Look how big my pecs are, and there's no stretch marks.
No.
That's because I stretched I always stretched. But
Yeah.
you see those guys with big pecs, they got those ugly stretch marks. So be sure you stretch for 2 reasons: for health, and it makes the pocket bigger, so your muscle can get bigger and you won't have those ugly marks. So your body looks great right now, but you are 21 and you're at a pivotal point of screwing up and getting big and having those marks and stuff, or just making sure you stretch after every couple of sets. I mean, literally, if you ever watch me train, I stretch after every 2 or 3 sets. And I mean, whether it's biceps, whether it's tricep stretch, whether it's, chest, whether it's back, whatever it is, whether it's traps, I stretch, and you not believe the difference it'll make in you.
I hear you, man.
Good luck with you, buddy. Good luck. You got a good physique.
Thank you. I just want to thank you for all, listening to you, giving me a lot of advice, a lot of things to play off of, hopefully going forward in my career. So thank you very much.
And one last thing I want to give you is every time you walk into the ring, you learn something new.
Yep.
Every time I climb in the ring, I learn something new. So do the same thing. And it's not on purpose. Yep. It would be on accident. Like I'd be like, oh my God, I just learned. So you'd always learn something new, either how to take a turnbuckle a little better or hit the ropes a little better or whatever it may be, you know.
I hear
Who's
you
in
there.
the background? Who's in your background over here?
No, my buddy just walked in coming home from the beach.
Tell him to show his face.
Hold on, yo.
Yeah.
What's up?
There he is.
What's up?
Buff Bagwell, bro.
That's sick.
Well, good luck,
That's
CC.
awesome.
Thank you, man. I appreciate
Jonah,
it.
thank you so much for everything.
Of course. Thank you. And
Thank
have a good one, both of you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.